Greetings YouTube, Fuzz here, and I've been uploading various game footage to the internet for the last 5 or 6 years. I'd like to think I've got a good grasp of how to record and, go through the whole process. So in this episode, I'm going to be showing you, yes you, how you can record your own footage from the Xbox One and then upload it to, well, whatever social media you want to use, YouTube, Facebook, whatever's your poison. Now before we get started, let's just run through some basics of what you're going to need. You're going to need an Xbox. This happens to be an Xbox One X, although pretty much everything I'm going to talk to you about today can also be done with the Xbox One S. You're going to require a computer that is running with Windows 10. Now if you're not running Windows 10, if you're using Mac, then there's probably various workarounds you can use. I'm not a Mac user, can't guarantee it. Have a look around the internet, see what you can find. And finally, depending on which of these methods you're going to use to record your game footage, you may require other bits and bobs as well, which I'll talk about as we go through the individual methods. But without any further ado folks, let's get started with today's episode. If you enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and please be subscribed to the FuzzfingerGaming YouTube channel. So the first method we're going to talk about today is likely to be the most costly, but if you're willing to invest a little bit of money into your streaming, into your recording, then you're going to get the best results, in my opinion, with this particular method. And that's the good old standard hardware capture. Now, I'm using the Elgato internal Game Capture HD 60 Pro. This one's a few years old. You can pick it up actually for quite a cheap price now on eBay or whatever internet site you like to make your purchases on. Or you can still purchase them new as far as I'm aware. In fact, I'll leave a link to this in the video description if you want to go and check this one out. But the reason I use an internal HD capture device rather than the external ones is that you get lag-free input, or virtually lag-free, with these particular PCI Express cards. So I've disconnected the camera from the tripod, just take you on a brief hardware tour here. You can see how I've got this set up. If I just go down to the computer, you can see the card. That's the graphics card, which is the, the giant card on top. But then the Elgato card is just a small card. It's a PCI Express card. It can go in a ×4 to ×16 slot. Very easy to install there. You just slot that into an empty slot, so obviously you will need one of those. And then if I just come out to the back of the computer here, you probably can't see this because it's a big tangle of cables. In fact, I'm not even going to show you that. Basically, I've got a HDMI coming out of the Elgato, and that's going all the way up here to the Xbox, which is just sitting down on the desk here. So this is the HDMI cable that's going to the Elgato capture device. And then obviously the Xbox is plugged in, so that's pretty much all you need. You can, if you want, then have an HDMI cable coming from the Elgato device to a separate display so you can have a pass-through. I haven't bothered with that, but you can do it if you want to. So the hardware setup's very simple. Now, once you've got everything set up in terms of the hardware, we can basically just use any of the software of your choosing to go ahead and record or stream whatever it is that you want to play. So, for example, there's the good old traditional OBS, which works absolutely fine, in my opinion. Does a pretty good job, and I should have this set up here, ready to go. Yes, so we can see we've got the Xbox turned on, and, you can pretty much, with the capture device that I've shown you, play straight from the streaming window here. No need for a second monitor, as I mentioned. Let's go ahead and enlarge that. We've got real-time lag-free play here on the Xbox, so that's one of the reasons I suggest the internal card. Or if you don't want to use OBS for whatever reason, then the Elgato card does also come with its own capture software called the Game Capture HD software, or something along those lines anyway. It's pretty useful. I generally do use this quite a bit, in all honesty. It does pretty much the same job as OBS. You can select your scenes and what have you down here. It just seems to make sense to use this one, I guess, since it's proprietary to the Elgato hardware. But you don't have to by any stretch of the imagination. So I'll just show you some game footage recording this way. I'll go ahead and hit record, switch over to the actual recorded footage and be right back with you. So here we are, a little bit of Spyro, and as you can see the quality is pretty decent. I've currently got it set to a 23 megabyte bit rate, I believe it is, but you can set that higher if you want to. Obviously it'll mean longer uploads, and if you're streaming with a slower internet connection, then you won't be able to set it even that high. but you know, as high as you want to set it, you can get to basically pristine one-for-one quality when you're using hardware capture. And with the Elgato device I'm using, it's a few years old, you can record 1080p footage at 60 frames per second. There is a newer 4K edition of that capture device, which lets you record 4K and I believe also 4K at 60 frames per second, but you know, not many games actually even run at that frame rate, so whether that would be useful to you or not, I'm not sure. Alright then, so there we have it, that's the hardware capture. Perhaps, you know, if you don't mind spending a little bit of money, then this is definitely the choice that you're going to prefer to make. But what if you don't have a whole lot of money? Well, let's have a look at some of the other options you can use for recording your Xbox game footage. Next up then, we have a USB 3.0 storage device, and this is going to be the second method that we can use to record our game footage from the Xbox and transfer that onto the computer to do with whatever we wish. So, some of the advantages of recording your game footage onto an external device such as this one. First of all, you get absolute pristine quality. What you're seeing when you're playing the game is what you're going to be recording. So it's completely, as far as I'm aware anyway, completely lossless quality. And I believe as well on the Xbox One S, if you're upscaling to 4K, you can record that onto the storage device. But definitely on the Xbox One X, you can record 4K footage as well. Although on both consoles, you can definitely record 1080p. And chances are, you've already got one of these lying around somewhere. If not, you can pick them up nowadays from Amazon or eBay or wherever you want to shop, pretty cheap. However, there are a couple of downsides to doing your recording this way. Most notably is that, at least for me personally, I've not been able to find a way of recording commentary at the same time as recording the gameplay footage onto the Xbox. So yes, I could set up a different mic setup that isn't connected to the Xbox, record the commentary separately and then sync it up in post. Or you can take the game footage that you've recorded and then record your commentaries over the game footage later on also in post. So there are ways around that, but it's just a couple of extra steps that if you are going to be doing commentary as well as game footage, you are going to have to bear in mind that it's a little bit of a downside. However, if you do know a way to record through your headset in order to record commentary whilst actually recording game footage, then please do share that in the comment section. Although for me, as I say, I wasn't able to get that to work, unfortunately. In order to get this to actually work, you need to have a USB 3.0 external device, so USB 2 isn't going to cut it, I'm afraid, and it needs to be formatted in the NTSF file system. So you can just do that in Windows before you plug it into your Xbox if it's new, and then you should be ready to go. Okay, so once your device is formatted and ready, and incidentally most USB 3 devices have a kind of blue connection to them. It doesn't actually affect the connection, but it's just a good way of distinguishing between USB 3 and USB 2 if there's no other way of finding out what, you know, kind of USB this is. So what we're going to do then is just access any of the open USB ports on the Xbox, such as this one down here. You can use the front one or you can use the back one, it doesn't matter. And we'll just plug that in there, like that, which I'm trying to do one-handed here. I'm sure you guys know how to plug a USB device into a port though. There we have it. Now I'm going to go ahead and start recording from the screen, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so here we are at the Xbox dashboard then, and the USB 3.0 device is plugged in. First thing we need to do is head over to the settings menu, and once we're here we're going to head down to preferences, I believe it is. Yep, and then broadcast and capture. Now the default settings are going to be to allow game captures, which we're going to of course make sure is selected, and then you're going to see some of these other settings which might seem a little bit off-putting. If we go to the capture time, for example, you'll probably note that 2 minutes is the most you can capture. Don't worry about that, that isn't going to be the case once we've got this working. And also you can select your game clip resolution. Now you can only record as up to the resolution that your display can output at. So seeing as how the display I'm currently connected to is a standard 1080p display, I'm not able to record at 4K, even though on the Xbox One X that would be an option were I connected to a 4K display. And then the capture location, this is very important. You're going to want to make sure this is selected to the Xbox external device that you've connected. In this case mine is the Xbox USB ST, so that should just be the name of the device that you've plugged in. So don't have it selected to internal or you won't get many of these options that we're about to adjust. Now, as I mentioned, I wasn't able to get the mic working at the same time. So have a fiddle about with that, see if you have any luck with it. If you do, let me know in the comment section. I might just be missing something there. But let's go ahead and load up a game with these settings. Now, once you've loaded up a game, and it can be any game, you do have to actually have the game loaded up though for this to work. What you're going to want to do is tap the home button. That's the main Xbox button in the centre of your controller. And you can look at the bottom kind of centre of the screen. You've got these options for screenshot, record that, capture options and system options. Now record that will record depending on the amount of time that we just established in the last part of the guide. So I think it was 30 seconds by default. So we're not going to use that. Instead, we're going to select capture options. And I believe this is only going to be possible if you have an external USB device plugged in. So we'll select that. And now you can see we can record for up to a single hour. So we can record an entire hour without being interrupted. I'm going to go ahead and select this at this point. And we'll get this little notification down the bottom just to inform us that recording has started. Oh, something I should probably mention is when you're ready to stop recording, just go through the same process. Okay, tap the home button and then you actually have the option on the X key to go ahead and stop off recording for just over 2.5 minutes. So let's go ahead and stop that. And now we can go ahead and take that footage off the USB device and stick it onto the computer. Okay, so I'm just going to plug the USB 3 device into my computer now. Hopefully this is going to work. And you'll see that we've got this folder here on the USB 3 device called Game DVR. Now, if it doesn't create this for you automatically when you plug it into the Xbox to start recording, you might get an error saying that the USB device isn't appropriate or it can't be used. Just pop it back into your computer and create this folder manually, because this is the folder the Xbox is going to need to store all of the game recordings that it makes. So once we're in here, we can see we've got the file that I just created on the Xbox One. And if we just go ahead and open this, as you can see, the quality is just the same as it was through the hardware pass-through that you saw a moment ago when I made this recording. And it's pretty much, you know, perfect really. So can't really complain about it. All you'll need to do is to go ahead and record your commentary over the top. Or if you don't care about commentary, you don't really care about editing, you can upload this file direct to YouTube or to whatever video social media sharing site you're using, and that'll work absolutely fine. Alright then guys, well I hope the second method is going to help some of you, but let's move on to the next. The final way I'm going to explain to you then of how you can record your Xbox One footage, your game footage, and then get that onto your computer is via the streaming method. And for this you're going to need a Windows 10 computer along with of course the console, but you're going to need both of these ideally set up on the same network, and not just any network but a wired network. Now you can do this via wireless, but you're going to need a really strong wireless signal from both the computer and the console in order to actually get this to work. Otherwise you're just going to get really low quality lag experience, which isn't going to be pleasant for anybody involved. So we're going to just get it turned on. It's connected to the network via a wired connection, and what I'm going to do then is make sure that the computer is set up via a wired connection, which in fact it is. So I'm going to go ahead and dim the lights here. We'll briefly go through the setup process on the Xbox, and then we'll move over to the computer and see how this all works together. Okay, so what we're going to do is head over to the settings app. This is on the console, and from the settings app you're going to make your way down to the preferences tab, and on the preferences tab you're going to head over to the Xbox app connectivity. Hopefully you guys can see this okay through the camera lens here. And on the Xbox connectivity tab we're going to just make sure that the following options are selected. Under other devices you'll want to make sure allow connections from any device is selected, and under this Xbox you'll want to make sure that both allow play to streaming and allow game streaming to other devices are also both selected. Back at the computer then, you're going to want to open the Xbox app, and this is a free app you can download if you don't have it already from the Microsoft store, and you'll need to log into this if you haven't been on this app before using the same account that you use on your Xbox. And we're going to go ahead and get this set up now. I've loaded up a game, Lost Odyssey, on the Xbox One, so we are good to go. Though you can actually stream on the Xbox to the Xbox even without a game being played. So just bear that in mind as well. If we go down to this button here, which is called Connection, we'll go ahead and select that, and then we'll come to this window which says Add a Device, and it's going to search for any Xboxes that it thinks that we should be able to connect to. And there's the Xbox One that we've just gone ahead and turned those options on a moment ago on the console itself. And as I mentioned, I've got both the Xbox and the computer connected to the same network via wired connections on each. So make sure you do the same if at all possible. If you do have to use a wireless connection, try and get those connections as strong as possible. So we'll just go ahead and select this here, and straight away it's coming up with the Xbox and that it's playing Lost Odyssey. Now, you won't have to go through that process each time you want to stream. It's just an initial setup process so that you can tell the computer which Xbox it needs to connect to. This is the window you'll normally be presented with once you've gone ahead through that setup process in the future, and when you're ready to stream, go ahead and just hit the stream button. And that'll just take a moment or two to connect. Sometimes you'll get this message pop up, which can be a bit annoying. I'm not sure why it does that. And you just need to try and hit the continue button. If you cannot get rid of that message because the mouse disappears, then what you might want to do is just hit the tab key. Make sure that you selected in the Xbox app window. Hit the tab key twice and that'll move you over to continue. Now, I've got the Xbox controller currently connected to the Xbox console itself. But if for whatever reason that's not going to be possible for you because your computer and Xbox are in different rooms, then you can connect the Xbox controller to the PC, either via cable if you have a USB cable, or via Bluetooth if you can access Bluetooth devices on your computer. And that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. Once you've gone ahead and done that, as you can see, the quality is pretty good. I don't know why I chose an Xbox 360 game. I do love this game, but it's a little bit, obviously, of a low polygon compared to a standard Xbox One game, but the quality you can still see is fantastic. And that's because I've got a good network connection, to tell you the truth. But obviously, right now, you're not actually recording.
He's still alive.
You're streaming to your PC, but that footage is for you and you alone. So you just need to get some software now that will allow you to either stream if you want to stream, such as OBS,
You alone?
or record. And you can use many different pieces of free software to record. For example, you can just use the inbuilt Windows 10 Game DVR recording software.
It's a miracle you made it.
I'm using at the moment the NVIDIA recording software because I have an NVIDIA graphics card, which is free. Or you can use AMD's recording software. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but if you're using an AMD card, you can use that for free. And there's many others as well. So, really easy to use to get set up, as you can see. If you do have any issues getting this working, then chances are, let me just come out of this for a moment. Chances are it's because you're not actually having a decent network connection. So go ahead and use the test streaming command if need be. This can take a minute or so, but if you're having any issues, then this will hopefully point them out to you in terms of if it's a network problem, and if so, on which part of the network those issues are likely to be found. A bit annoyingly, I couldn't quite get that to work, to tell you the truth. So I don't know what it was. I mean, obviously the streaming is fine, but the test was just coming back with failed results and everything. So I'm not sure if there was an issue somewhere that I just need to fix. But the streaming itself is working absolutely fine, so that's really strange. Anyway, there it is on the computer. And there's the same game, of course, on the main display. The Xbox over there. And everything's good. So, folks, I hope this video has been helpful to you. Hope you've enjoyed watching these multiple methods of recording to YouTube, or recording to your computer rather, from the Xbox console. Let me know in the comment section what you think, and which method will you be using, or are you using, in order to go ahead and get this sort of stuff done. But I've been your host Fuzz, so thanks for stopping by for the video today. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, don't forget to leave a like. I'll leave a link in the description for all of the hardware that I've recommended today. So please, check that out. And just support the channel if you purchase any of that using my link. So thank you very much. But I'll see you next time. Have a great day.